Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. Hurricane Alicia, packing winds of at least 115 miles an hour, slammed into Galveston Island this morning, causing widespread damage and extensive flooding. But she didn't stop at Galveston. The big storm roared up into Houston and then continued on northwest. Tonight, Alicia is breaking up. The center of the downgraded storm is becoming less well-defined, but it's now located just south of Dallas-Fort Worth. There has been one fatality in Dallas blamed on the storm. We'll have more on that in a moment. But first, standing by live in Houston is Clarice Tinsley, who watched Alicia move in from the Gulf. Clarice?
That's right, Chip. Thank you. Alicia began quietly enough, but by very early this morning, the storm was pounding the Texas coast. We have two reports from during the full fury of the storm, beginning with Nann Goplerud on Galveston Island.
Struck here in Galveston at about 2 o'clock this morning, and it's now 6:30 in the morning, and as you can see, there's still a lot of rain and a lot of winds. Alicia's not given up yet here in Galveston. Most of the city appears to be blacked out, although there's so much street flooding, we haven't yet been able to drive around and see how much damage and how much outage of power that there is. It's really amazing to be out here in this kind of weather. I've never been in a hurricane before, and it's really quite amazing to see how Mother Nature reacts when it releases all of its fury on a city. When the winds and rain began to subside, the widespread ruin was evident. Torrential rains left city streets flooded. The high winds ripped apart many seaside shops and businesses. Even some tightly shuttered homes couldn't stand the stress. A mobile home park evacuated days ago was left twisted and smashed. The Galvez Hotel lost a wall. Many residents in West Galveston lost their homes and had to be transported to a Red Cross shelter.
The wind, everything was blowing. The boards were coming off the other apartments and everything. And it was very frightening. If another one hit, I will leave the island.
The only thing I can do is just probably try to clean up the mess, go back to work. I don't know what else to do.
It's believed damage will run in the millions. City officials stick by their decision not to force residents to evacuate. In Galveston, no one was killed or seriously injured by the storm. Nann Goplerud, News 4, Galveston.
5 in the morning when the brunt of the storm hit Galveston. A glass wall in a hotel lobby literally exploded from the force of the hurricane, sending people running for cover. Those who had taken refuge in the Hotel Galvez were forced into the hallways as more windows were broken and walls caved in. It got worse. People were evacuated from upper floors to the basement. It was an uneasy night.
All right, I got an ambulance on the way. It's going to take a few minutes before we get here.
When daylight came, it was time to assess the damage, and there was plenty of it. Galveston residents ventured out this morning to take a look and pick up what was not blown away. How was it last night for you?
It was pretty rough. A lot of rain. We expected it, though. Thank God everything come out all right, though, fortunately.
Carlos Aguilar, CBS News, Galveston Island.
Chip, tonight the death toll stands at 6 known fatalities. Damage is in the range of $1 billion. Downtown Houston is one of those devastated areas.
Corpus Christi, devastated by Hurricane Allen 3 years ago, awoke this morning a picture postcard. 150 miles to the north, Bay City, too, was calm. This morning, residents who had prepared for the worst said they received little more than a summer shower.
Tapered off about 8 o'clock in the morning. We thought maybe the eye had passed over Bay City, but took a turn for the best and went up north.
10 miles north of Bay City, an hour south of Houston, the line is drawn. A line that separates those who merely had to contend with summer showers and those who have to clean up after Alicia's destruction. At noon today, families at the violent edge of the storm returned to their homes, assessed the damage, and were thankful to have something to come home to.
Luckily, we didn't get a tree on the house. That's what we was worried about.
Alicia did not bring the accustomed torrential rains here that coastal residents had expected. 2 inches fell in the early morning hours as Alicia swept to the north. Electric crews were busy, though, as gusting winds played havoc with trees and power lines.
I don't know when we're going to get it all back up.
Traveling northward, damage was visibly more widespread and intense, most in the form of fallen trees. Freeport, 45 miles south of Houston, was close enough to experience the definite front and back walls of the hurricane. Half of the 13,000 residents here evacuated. The owners of this home left town. The house burned down during the height of the hurricane.
I'm one of the few down here that went through Hurricane Carla in 1961. And Carla was a little bit tougher than this one, but I'd just soon not have any more of them. This is enough for me.
Last night at this time, the people here in Freeport were ready for a direct hit. Tonight, they and other South Coast residents have only to wonder how bad it could have been. Jamie Aiken, News 4, Freeport, Texas.
And, of course, that was Jamie's survey of the damage from Corpus Christi up the Texas coast. As I mentioned earlier, the damage in Houston, downtown Houston, is absolutely devastating. Here's a report.
This morning, the eye of the hurricane passed by Houston and brought with it winds clocked at more than 90 miles an hour. Alicia also brought a rain of glass as windows popped out of skyscrapers and crashed into the streets.
Tremendous destruction. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
It took a hurricane to shut down business in the nation's fifth largest city. Shortly before 8 a.m., Houston Mayor Kathy Whitmire ordered downtown Houston closed to all but essential emergency personnel. Governor White flies here to meet with government officials tomorrow and discuss cleanup efforts and possibly disaster aid. 20,000 people remain in emergency shelters in a 12-county area. Many won't return to their homes until tomorrow. Tonight, they are apprehensive about what they may find.
And tonight, flooding is extensive in southeast Texas, but north of Houston, flooding is not expected to peak until tomorrow. 750,000 people are without electricity. It may take 5 days to completely restore power. Chip?
Okay. Thank you very much, Clarice. It's about time for some shut-eye and a hot meal, I would think, for you.
You bet.
Okay, you've seen the heart of the storm down there, of course, but even up here, we are feeling and have felt earlier today what's left of the leading edge. As Alicia moved inland, it triggered a series of locally severe thunderstorms and, in fact, a few tornadoes.